All right, Bobby, you're our intro guy.
Today is a special day, and today is a podcast where we talk about that special day. Hi, I'm Bobby Parker.
And I'm Joey Nickel.
Welcome to Today Is.
All right, listen, I feel like I've been gone for a very long time, but no time has really passed that much since our last recording.
Right.
We recorded last Wednesday, released the episode on Friday, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Now we're recording on a Thursday. We're going to release this episode on a Friday. That is our normal routine. But I was on a cruise.
You were on a... So you were technically out of the country.
I was out of the country my mother-in-law booked this cruise. Shout out to my mother-in-law who doesn't listen to the show.
Shout out. Mini props.
Shout out to Valerie, my mother-in-law, my wife's mother, loves to book these last-minute cruises, and our family is really the only ones that can jump on them right now because it's summertime.
Right.
It's the beginning of summertime. My wife's not. She's a teacher, so
she's got summer break.
She's got summer break. The kids are on summer break. I don't have a real job, so all I had to do was find somebody to cover my shifts at the open mic. To cover my two open mics that I host, which Chris Buck did both of them this week.
Right.
Thank you, Chris Buck, for hosting both the open mics, Shantytown and Lily's. And she said, "Hey, I want to book a cruise for 2 days from now," and this was Thursday, I think, or Friday. Yeah, we left on Sunday. Like she booked it. She finalized it on Friday, and we left on Sunday, I think.
That's a quick turnaround.
It was pretty quick.
That is the fastest vacation.
Might have been
turnaround.
Thursday. I think it was Thursday because I remember finding out that the day she booked it, we had to sign up for anything like if we wanted the pre-price for the internet or stuff like that, because it was going to go away because it was within 3 days. So once that you're within Saturday or Friday, yeah, everything would have gone away. So we had to book everything on Thursday.
That is crazy.
So yeah, then we jumped on a cruise ship and came back today. I've been back in the area just for a few hours. It's been like a few hours since we got back.
Wow. Where did you leave from?
We left from Canaveral.
Canaveral. Okay.
So it's like, yeah, that's not too far. About 2 hours.
Right. So,
2-hour drive.
But you also said when I was chatting with you last week that you were going to stop in Miami.
Yeah. So we stopped in Miami. I still don't know what we were doing there. Like, okay, when you go on a cruise, do you expect to go to like just like an industrial cruise port? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like there was no vacation-y stuff at the we didn't even get off the boat because it was just
right.
We would have had to have just gotten an Uber and gone to a beach or something.
Right, like because I know that I've not been on a lot of cruises. I've been on I think 3 cruises in my life, maybe 4.
Yeah.
But I know that when you go to a destination, it's kind of industrially just because that's kind of where the cruise pulls in. But there's plenty of infrastructure around here. But I also have left from a cruise from Miami, and there was nothing around there.
There's nothing around the cruise port in Miami. It's just a cruise port. There's just a bunch of ships coming in, but not just like vacation ships. There's shipping.
Right.
Containers, there's all kinds of just normal industrial stuff happening at this port of Miami, and then we're stopped there with a bunch of partiers. It didn't make any sense. Like I've never heard of stopping in Miami. I've only ever heard of leaving from Miami. Like I've left from Miami. I've gone on a cruise from Miami before, but I've never stopped in Miami. And then we went to we stopped. So it was so weird to have that stop. We didn't even get off the boat. And none of the shops could operate while we were there because they didn't want to pay taxes,
right.
Sales tax,
and you don't want to compete with all those things. That's
so
weird.
None of the stores were open, and we were there till 7:30. Yeah, we stayed in Miami till 7:30 p.m.
So it was like an entire day thing.
We were there an entire day. But we didn't want to pay to get off the boat because we would have had to have we couldn't go anywhere without like getting an Uber.
Right.
And the difference between, let's say we got an Uber and went to a beach, right? Which we almost did that. But let's say you get an Uber and go to a beach. Then what? We get back in the Uber all wet from the beach?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. And then what? I don't know. It was such a weird port to go to. Right. And I don't think we had to pay for the port fees for that one because it was still in the country.
Right.
I think you only have to pay for foreign port fees. So it's not like it added cost, and people were mad. People were mad that we were stopping there because when the cruise was first opened, it had a sea day that day. Like you were just out to sea. And then for some reason they added Miami to it for no reason.
Yeah, they probably had like a refuel or like
something.
A crew
I don't know. It's so
day
weird.
Or something that they had to fit in.
They added Miami. Maybe they were picking up crew members, maybe. That's the only thing I can think of. They were either picking up crew members or supplies that they couldn't get in Canaveral for some reason. Because stopping in Miami meant you couldn't. Also, the casino wasn't open till 8:30.
Yeah, they're giving up money.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That.
A day at sea, the casino's open all day, and a day at sea. Like you just go out to sea. If you're at sea, it doesn't matter. They have the casino open, the shops are open. But because we were on an American port, they couldn't open the shops because they weren't registered to pay sales tax. They couldn't open the casino. It was crazy. Like there was nothing. None of that was on the ship. Now there was still all the food and everything, all that kind of stuff. But
right, yeah. But so this is I find this absolutely fascinating because. Before I was an adult and thought about things like this, I would have been like really angry. But now I'm like, oh, that's a smart business decision to just upset everyone for no reason. But you're still happy about it. You're still happy about the cruise.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I am. I mean, it was still a lovely cruise. I loved it, but it was just weird. Like I've been on boats where there was no reason to have a sea day. Like we went to Bimini one time on a cruise. That was one of the ports, and Bimini is literally like 40 miles off the coast of Florida. Like
right.
it's like it's just like you can drive a boat there. You can sail. You can rent a boat, captain a boat. You can rent a boat in Fort Lauderdale and take it to Bimini in a day and then come back.
Right.
But there was a sea day in between Bimini and Florida, so they just went out to sea and floated. We were just anchored at sea I don't even know if we anchored, but we were just in the middle of the ocean,
just cruising.
just in the middle of the ocean for a day, so that people could gamble, and then we went into the port. So that's why I was so surprised that they had that, so that they had the Miami thing. It was weird. It was odd, but then we went to a private island. Which it was nice, but it stormed on the private island.
Right.
We did get a little beach time. The boys said they loved it because there was a bunch of waves.
Yeah, that would be super cool. Now, were you on the island when the storm came through?
Yeah. So we were on the island. Well, the storm started coming. It was already rainy.
Okay.
When we got off the ship, and we got off early because we knew a storm was coming. So we got off early. We spent a couple hours at the beach, just whatever was closest to the boat. We just walked to the beach. It was a beautiful beach, but then the storm came and we had to come inside, and then they made everybody come in, and they closed the gangway because this huge storm came through. We were also there until 7:30. We were there all day at this private island. And at the end of the day, they have a lighthouse on that island, and at the end of the day, there's like a light show on the lighthouse.
Right.
Like as you're leaving, because it's dark. It's dark outside. It's nighttime. So it was fun. I like that island a lot. I wish I could have experienced it a little more and not had the storm, but it was still a lot of fun. That was a great place.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Now I'm curious about the storm. Now, was it like lightning and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Oh, so that
yeah,
it's scary and intense, but it's super cool to experience.
We got back on the ship and just watched it from the window, from the pool deck windows, because there's an indoor pool there, luckily. Right. So we were able to get in the indoor pool, and then we just watched it from the windows. This huge storm came through.
See that. It would be a really intense experience. I've been at sea during a storm, and it's crazy. I've been on Lake Erie on a small sailboat during a storm. It's crazy.
really?
Yeah, it was crazy. My uncle had a sailboat up there for years.
I've never been in a storm on one of the Great Lakes or anything. That's kind of cool.
The weirdest place I've ever experienced a lightning storm, I was in the top of the St. Louis Arch, the up there, and a lightning storm came through. And I am not good with heights. I am not good with enclosed spaces. It was super cool, but I had a tough time with it.
Yeah, that's on the top of the St. Louis Arch.
Yeah,
That seems crazy. I've never been to the St. Louis Arch.
it's a fun one.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is it cool?
It is cool. It's definitely worth it. You have got to get into this little elevator thing where you sit in. There's like 5 people. Like you're packed in. It's very tight. And I don't like enclosed spaces. As I said, I don't like heights. And you're up there. You're very high off the ground, but it's super cool to see. And especially if weather comes through, you see lightning.
That's
fun.
cool. I've never been to that one before. My brother's been in the Arch, but I've never been in it. Then we went to Nassau.
Ooh,
and we went
fun.
to Blue Lagoon, which is this private island type beach that they take you out on a boat out there. It's a lot of fun. We did a lot of snorkeling. The kids had a blast.
Brooke Shields was there.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that was return. She returned though.
Okay.
She returned to Blue Lagoon.
Fantastic.
No, it was a good cruise. We had a good time. It was last minute. I've never been on that cruise line before. It was MSC. They really are not good at naming things. The name of the cruise line is the Mediterranean Shipping Company. And it's like
the MSC.
That just screams party. Like, it's like Mediterranean Shipping Company.
That sounds like they used to be in the slave trade.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And they're like, hey, we've got boats.
Yeah. You know what? We already have the boats. We might as well make them parties.
Let's pivot.
Yeah, I don't know why. And also the name of the boat was the Seashore. So it's the MSC Seashore. Which is already we already had our tongue twister episode.
Yeah, that's
the MSC Seashore. That sounds so stupid.
They need to work on that.
It's such a bad name for a boat. Then we passed when we were in Nassau. We saw another MSC boat, and it had a name I don't even remember. It was like an Italian name, and I was like, boy, they just really suck at naming things. Who names a cruise line MSC? Like we have a shipping company. You will just keep the same name. It's like, come up with another name or something.
It would have been so much easier to have a partnership to change it to MCS, McSea. You'd have McDonald's tie-in.
Yeah, right.
Come on out to the McSea, kids. Yeah,
Well, like you look at every other cruise line, it's like Carnival, Royal Caribbean. They all sound cool. Or like Carnival, obviously a party. Princess, Celebrity,
Nordic cruise lines.
Norwegian or Nord. Is there a Nordic?
Norwegian. That's
Norwegian.
That's what I'm thinking.
Norwegian. At least that's like
it gives a vibe.
It gives a vibe. Or Norwegian, I don't mind that name because it's like a country. Same with Holland America. It's like and now in Holland America, Norwegian, they don't really lean into it. I'm sure the company started in Norway, but it's not like they don't really lean into the Norwegian aspect of it. Like you're not like getting Norwegian food and stuff like that while you're on the boat. But Holland America, you do. Holland America, they lean into the country is the Netherlands now, but Holland isn't a country anymore. It was its own country, but now it's part of the Netherlands.
Right.
But I think you still would call somebody
Dutch.
Yeah, they're Dutch. Yeah, that's what it is. So it's all Dutch themed.
I love it.
The name of the boat is the Rotterdam, the one we were on.
That's sweet.
Which is great. Yeah, the Rotterdam, the Amsterdam, like they're all cities in the Netherlands. So it's like I think that's really cool, and it's like the food. There's lots of cold fish for breakfast.
Yeah.
Like that's very much a Dutch thing. And then, and they have a bunch of other stuff.
Cold fish, capers, cream cheese.
Yes, capers and cream cheese and stuff. I love cold fish for breakfast, so I had that a ton. while I was on Holland America. I loved Holland America a lot. And they're, by the way, all their like officers and everybody, they're all Dutch. Like they all.
That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, and it's fun to see the Dutch culture and stuff like that. And they take you to the Dutch islands in South America.
Yeah.
So,
I
like
would,
Curacao is a Dutch island, and there's like 3 Dutch islands that were settled by it's 3 islands in South America that were settled by the Dutch. One of them is technically part of Venezuela now, but it's that I feel like that's very interesting to have that kind of theme.
Yeah,
on a cruise.
I would love it. I would have wooden shoes and just I would have a blast, like melty cheese, wooden shoes, and I know it's really German, but it feels like lederhosen would be appropriate.
Yeah, there's probably some lederhosen involved. The MSC is an Italian cruise line, Mediterranean Shipping Company. They're an Italian cruise line, and they are Italian themed. A lot of the stuff has Italian names, and like the last night of the cruise is this big Italian dinner. Okay. It's all like specialty Italian stuff for the
Feast of Seven Fishes.
Yeah, like they have like it's all like special Italian dishes, and the waiters and waitresses all wear the Italian flag in vest form, which is maybe a little offensive. I don't know. As an Italian, that was a little weird, but my mother-in-law loved it. She's not Italian, but she's married to one, and so she gets real excited about Italian-y stuff.
Yeah,
But it was kind of funny that they had this kind of Italian theme throughout it, but I don't think I've been on a ship that was more culturally themed than Holland America. That one was very culturally themed, which I liked. I liked that a lot. It was kind of fun to have that little twist to it.
Right.
And now, every cruise I've been on, Carnival does not have this. I love salmon for breakfast. I love cold fish for breakfast in general, but I like smoked salmon a lot. And Carnival does not have this, but all the other boats I've been on have had smoked salmon on the buffet. Just all you can eat smoked salmon for breakfast. I've eaten so much smoked salmon. I probably have mercury poisoning. I have eaten so much smoked salmon. I have eaten this year alone because I've been on 3 cruises. We're 6 months in. That means I go on a cruise on average every 2 months right now. Right now I'm going on a cruise every 2 months. That's my average. Yes. But I've gone on 3 cruises so far this year, and we're 6 months in. I have had all-you-can-eat smoked salmon at every breakfast, every cruise. I've had pounds and pounds of smoked salmon. It's so much smoked salmon.
I believe that people would describe you as a bear.
Yeah, I need to. I probably should get a test to find out if I have mercury poisoning. What are the symptoms of? If anybody can tell me what the symptoms of mercury poisoning are, please email the show at todayispodcast at gmail.com.
I feel like we should use you to measure temperature.
Yeah, that's how much mercury is in my system from that salmon. Not to mention the dinner salmons I've eaten.
Oh yeah, dinner salmon. Oh yeah.
But I love fish for breakfast. I love cold fish for breakfast.
I'm not. It's okay. I'm not big.
I love a good herring. I love a good smoked herring.
So herring,
kippered herring.
I like more than salmon for breakfast. Salmon's one of my favorite fish of all.
I do like smoked salmon for breakfast, but I actually think I liked kippered herring more.
Yeah, which is
basically smoked herring. When they say a kipper, that's a smoked herring. But I think I'd like that more than. I think I like that more than smoked salmon. But only cruise I've been on to have kippered herring was Holland America, and they had a bunch of it, and I would just get crackers with cream cheese and put this kippered herring on it. Delicious.
I have to ask this question: how do you feel about anchovies?
I like anchovies.
Oh, anchovies!
I love anchovies.
Anchovies are good.
Some people will pronounce it anchovy. I love anchovies, and I love them. I actually don't know if I've ever actually had them on pizza. Have you had them on pizza?
Yes.
Are they good on pizza?
They are.
Are they?
Yes.
I love them. They're salty. Yep. They're
as long as you want the salty on the pizza, like it doesn't.
There's probably a way to eat anchovies where they're not salted and brined, but why? That's the only way I've ever had them. Are salted and brined. Like
they're a very salty fish on purpose. That's why.
Good. I like anchovies on a salad. Also, Caesar salad dressing has chopped up anchovies.
Yes,
most people don't realize
that's the traditional way.
Yeah. Which I informed my son of that on the cruise, because he gets weird about stuff he doesn't know that he's eating.
Right.
Like one time we told him he was eating calamari. He loved it. He was just gobbling it down, and we're like, that's squid, and he's like, what? And he wouldn't eat it. He wouldn't eat it the rest of the trip.
But he loved it.
Yeah. It's like, so I told him, he ordered a Caesar salad at dinner, and I said, just so you know, there's anchovies in the Caesar dressing. Because I guess I could have not told him.
Right.
That would have been the move, I guess. He didn't seem to mind. He seemed okay with it.
So when I was growing up, my parents are originally from central southern Ohio, and for very special occasions in the Columbus area of Ohio, there's a restaurant called the Kahiki. It's a Polynesian-themed restaurant, and
which is what I would expect from Southern Ohio.
Exactly. Yeah, very, very, very Polynesian-centric area. It was just a random place that my parents took me to one time, and it ended up being a place. But they would do the table-side Caesar salad where they would make it for you
chop
fresh.
Up the anchovies?
Yeah, they chop up with the raw egg. So I saw that as a kid, like when I was 7 and 8 years old.
And you're like, gross?
No, I'm like, I'm fascinated, and I'm like, and I liked it. I'm like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
And I've never
had fresh Caesar salad, Caesar dressing.
It was so cool. Like I've never been like scared of food. Like there's food I don't like, but I've never been scared to try it. And I'm very thankful about that.
I've always. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Nobody looks at us and it's like, you were probably scared of some foods when you were a kid, right?
Well, here's this. Like my son, unfortunately, built like me, super picky eater.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
And it's very weird. My wife's family, they're all very picky eaters.
Lewis, my oldest, is not a picky eater at all. He'll eat just about anything. Daniel, he's a little picky. He actually does not like fish that much.
Okay.
He'll have salmon in sushi sometimes, or crab. He loves shellfish. He loves crab and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
But I forgot what else I was going to say.
Packer is
Packer's a little picky. Packer just will not eat sometimes. He just eats or doesn't eat. Like we're like, well, today's an eating day for Packer, or today's not an eating day. I don't know why. He's the only kid that really doesn't have his own appetite. Like, we gotta remind him to eat, kind of thing.
Hey, God bless him, man. Yeah, I wish I had that growing up.
I know. All the other kids seem to eat. Well, Daniel was always we always felt like we got our money's worth at a sushi buffet or something with Daniel. Because he was 10 or 11, and he would be the kid price,
Right.
He's gonna be 12 this year, so we're not gonna be able to do the kid price anymore.
I'll get a fake ID.
Yeah, because 11-year-olds have IDs. There's just something I was gonna say before we got into our subject. I do have an announcement.
Ooh, an announcement.
I have an announcement. We have a show tonight at Really Good Beer Stop.
Really Good Beer Stop.
I don't know why I'm even telling you, because you can't go. We are sold out.
We're sold out, seriously?
We're sold out.
We're sold out.
Our show is sold out at Really Good Beer Stop. Sorry, guys, don't buy any tickets.
That is phenomenal.
We're sold out. In fact, we were about to sell out, and then I asked the venue owner, I said, how many can we squeeze in extra? And he said, we could probably do 10 more than you put on the thing.
Right.
And so I added 10, sold those out.
Man,
so
I'm thrilled. Yeah. I love this.
We have a sold out show.
I'm excited.
Yeah, this is going to be a great show. I was not expecting to sell out pre-show. I thought we'd sell have a good sales, and we had good sales starting off. So like right away, within the first week we had 15 sold. So I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
Right,
We're getting
right.
a pretty good amount. I expected to be half sold by now, and then maybe add 10 more walk-ins.
Some good walk-ups
because some walk-ups.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm gonna have to here's the thing. I also was expecting to be able to anybody who was at the bar who hadn't bought a ticket to sell them a ticket.
Right,
if they're just
right.
at the bar, I'm like, hey, because we're gonna close it off at 6. We're gonna tell everybody that's when we're gonna start taking covers, and or taking tickets at 6. No, not 6. 7.
7.
Shows at 8. So at 7, we're going around to anybody who's at the bar and say, hey, I'm sorry, we're going to start the show at 8, so we got to kick you out, or you can pay the money. Well, we can't even have them buy a ticket.
Right, yeah. Oh.
Because it's sold out. We won't have room for them.
We got to turn that room over.
I know.
Man,
it's crazy.
I'm super thrilled. I'm like actually one of the best parts about this is we've got some of my wife's family coming into town, and they're like, oh, if we get there in time, we'll swing by. I get to tell them, like, hey, you know what?
Don't worry about it.
It's sold out.
So they didn't buy tickets yet.
They didn't, because they don't know.
Yeah,
when,
okay.
And
I was wondering about that. I was like, because we just sold I think we sold 5 right in the last little bit. Like today we sold 5, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that was Bobby's family or not. But that wasn't even your people.
No.
Was...
If it was, they didn't tell me about it.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I'm super excited about them not being able to shop.
What? Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a great show. I mean, I hope so, unless it's all one person bought the tickets, some weird guy who hates us. He's like, I really hate that podcast. I'm going to buy all these tickets and be the only one there. Yeah. That could be the case. I have no idea.
Well, so that is amazing news. Really weird news. We are actually just booked on another show together in July.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh.
J Paul's
show. I was about to say, I only have one booking in July, I think. It's J Paul's room. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's funny.
Yeah. It's just, and it was just like, hey, I needed somebody. Would you mind being on the show? I'm like, I would love to. Who else is in it? I'm like, this seems very staged.
Yeah. You shouldn't have told me. We should have just showed up.
I had
like
to
at
just
Nick Harvey's show.
That was
funny.
fun. Yeah.
Well, what's funny about Nick Harvey's show too is he asked me. He's like, who else would you suggest for the show? And I was like, oh, how about Bobby Parker? He's like, he's already on the show. And the thing is we keep booking these shows. And that one, we had another show together the next day, right? Was that your church show the next day after the Nick Harvey one?
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, so sold out show, which is going to be quite the difference between from last week.
Right.
We didn't even talk about shows we've done. So we usually start with shows that we did. So we had our show at Shantytown on Friday, our professional ticketed show at Shantytown on Friday. We were very we did not quite make it to sold out at that show.
Right.
We were maybe 50 to 70 tickets away from selling out.
Yeah, just a small percentage.
Whatever the capacity of that backyard is, we were
not there.
Not even close.
No.
We sold 4 tickets. I almost lied and said 7 tickets. I don't know why. I almost lied thinking I'm going to say 7 because 4 sounds terrible. 7 sounds better. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
7 sounds like there were like 3 couples and 1 guy.
Yeah. We sold 4 tickets to that show. I still don't know who the other 2 ticket holders were because there was that couple that was there.
Right.
Who the couple ended up being terrible. Well, the dude was fine. He was fine. His date, not so much. His date would not shut up the entire show.
Yes,
she
was
liked
to talk. Yeah.
And so what we ended up doing, because we only sold 4 tickets, you might be thinking, oh, well, you did a show for 4 people. We did not. We just let everybody who was there at the bar just come to the show for free. We didn't end up charging the people who were already there at the bar.
Right.
Which otherwise we wouldn't have had an audience anyway.
Yes.
So we just kind of decided this is going to be a loss for us. We're just going to do a free show, basically. Yeah. So I don't know that we'll continue to do ticketed shows at Shantytown.
That's a rough. Now, I don't think you're aware of this part. This was something that happened before you showed up, and I was just flabbergasted by. Like I got there and I was like, okay, I'm going to set up the chairs.
Sure.
And on the table back there, somebody had accidentally left a 3D printer overnight.
In the backyard?
In the backyard
Of Shantytown?
Of Shantytown on one of the picnic tables. And I'm just kind of looking at it. I'm like, hey, is this supposed to be here? And the bartender guy, I don't know their names. He's like, oh, yeah, so-and-so left their 3D printer here last night. Let me go ahead and put this up. Like, it's a normal thing to just lug around a 3D printer and leave it outside at a bar in Florida.
Huh. That is weird.
Yeah, and
It's a weird thing to find there.
It was just got lost in the shuffle of everything going on, and I was just but
oh yeah, the 3D printer
Yeah,
at Shantytown.
but I was sitting there and I had a note like I need to talk about this at some point
Yeah.
because what? And it was just I'm glad you brought it up.
You know what's interesting about that is, so you know Emery, he's been on the show.
Yeah.
He was on Soup Day. Emery had an old 3D printer, very old, like very, not very high tech, one of the early ones, big clunky thing. And I had said something about my son wanting a 3D printer. He was like, hey, you know what? I have an old one. You can just have it. I was like, okay, cool. And then he gave it to me, but he gave it to me at Shantytown. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
We did the exchange at Shantytown, and he brought me 3D filament, and I accidentally left the 3D filament at Shantytown, and then got it the next week. Ian took it behind the bar so it wouldn't get stolen. But is that place some sort of weird magnet for 3D printers, or
it seems like Shantytown is like some where people go to use 3D printers to like print something.
Yeah, I don't know. Were people printing
shady.
guns or something? Like, by the way, Shantytown, it is what it sounds like. Like it looks like it sounds like. It's not.
Yes.
It's not a nice place. It's not. I mean, I'm not trying to dog it. Like I'm not trying to insult it. It is a dive bar.
That is absolutely the place I would have hung out in college.
Yeah, it is a dive bar that serves alcohol and more alcohol. Like
Yes.
that's and then they have,
There's a grill in the back, I think.
there's that some people sometimes use to sell food.
Yes.
That is not associated with Shantytown.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a bring your own food and maybe you can cook it
Maybe.
here or
Every once in a while, a steak guy will come on Monday. Every first Monday of the month during open mic, a steak guy will come and cook on a flat top there and sell steaks. But it's not Shantytown doing it. It's just some guy. It's like, by the way, the bar area is very small. There's like an bar area inside with a stage and 20 seats,
Right.
if that. Including the bar, and then the outdoor area is huge, and it's just this outdoor patio with a stage and a bunch of seats and another bar.
Nice.
And some coverings and stuff like that. So, but it's very. I mean, it's not the kind of place I would leave a 3D printer. I don't think I would do that.
It was just such an unusual thing,
funny.
but there's so many other things going on. I didn't even think about it. I did take a picture of it, so I will send you a picture.
That's
of,
funny.
Of the Shantytown 3D printer.
So that our show on Friday sounds like it's going to do better.
Yes.
Than 4 tickets.
And hopefully we'll find another 3D printer.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be another 3D printer there. I'm excited. This is going to be a good show on Friday. So stay tuned to hear about how it went. But sorry, if you haven't bought a ticket yet, you won't be able to go.
Sorry, Steve.
But I guess we have a show coming up in July.
Yes. And I have I don't know
July
anything
19th?
about the show.
I don't either. I think it's July 19th.
It's a Saturday, so July 19th, yes, because I actually have a Mad Calford reunion show on Sunday.
Okay.
For like a special event thing. But yeah, that's
All right.
yeah, I'm super looking forward to that.
Well, that'll be fun. All right. Today's topic Today is National Higher Education Day, which we thought we would talk about our colleges that we went to.
Yeah. We are representing our respective schools.
Yep.
Yeah.
I went to Brigham Young University.
I went to Grove City College.
Yeah. So we've got some college stories we're gonna talk about. Where's Grove City?
Grove City is about an hour north of Pittsburgh, so about
Okay.
30 miles north of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania.
All right. And Brigham Young University is in Provo, Utah. which
Provo,
is
Utah. Yep.
about an hour south of Salt Lake.
Yes. Yep. That's a beautiful area too.
Now, what was your major?
I ended up majoring in business communications. So business / communication. I started off as a biology biochemistry major.
Oh, really?
Yes, my parents are.
So you took a turn.
Yes,
Yeah.
they love to talk about how I went to school to become a doctor and ended up becoming a comedian.
Yeah.
That's their favorite joke.
Yeah. With your business communications degree.
Yes. And you were a film major.
Yeah, I went to film school, and let me tell you, I have no marketable skills from film school. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about going to film school when I did. YouTube was brand new. Like in fact, it was like later. Like even when I started film school, YouTube didn't exist yet. So online anything, there was no online content. It didn't exist. There's no such thing as online content.
Right.
That was non-existent. YouTube kind of started online content. I know that like there were podcasts, I want to say, before YouTube maybe. I don't even know. Actually, YouTube may predate podcasts too.
Podcasts technically started with the iPod.
Yes. But not right away. I think
Like there were online radio.
the earliest, well, yeah, I guess there was online radio. That was probably the first online content really that was intended to be online. There were online radio stations because it was easy to just stream audio.
Right.
Before people started streaming video. But like the earliest podcasts actually weren't audio. They were video. I don't know if you remember this.
I don't know.
So podcasts started with the advent of the iPod video, or is that what it was called? The iPod, the one that you could play videos on. So you had the original iPod was just audio.
Okay.
Then you had the iPod. I don't know that they called it the iPod video or anything. It just had video capability, but not like streaming.
Right.
There was no internet on it. You just could you could buy a movie on iTunes and then transfer it from your computer to your iPod.
Right.
And then they started something called podcasts, and I believe they were video.
Okay.
So you download them on your computer and then transfer them through iTunes onto your iPod. And one of the earliest podcasts was the Ninja Guy. Do you remember the Ninja? It was just a guy in a ninja suit talking about being a ninja.
No, I don't.
And
Like
it was funny. It was comical.
I'm sure I've seen clips of it just because, but it's not ringing a bell.
That was really they were TikToks. Like they were what TikToks became, was just a guy in a ninja suit talking to the camera, telling stories, being ridiculous,
Right.
taking letters. He'd like read letters and stuff like that, and then there was like he had like a Christmas special he did, and it was hilarious. I love this guy, and he's back, by the way. He's doing content again, but he was hilarious. But that was the early podcast. They were videos. They were longer than like a TikTok clip. They were like 5, 10, and then they started getting longer and longer. People started doing like interviews and stuff, and I think people realized it was too hard to put out long form video at that time because not everybody had high speed internet. Even the high speed internet was not that fast yet.
And is that when like the advent of like things like Vine came through?
Yeah, so we have Vine coming up, but that's even later, I think.
Okay.
That's even post this era.
Yeah,
because Vine's like
we're talking about 90s.
This is
90s 2000s.
It's still 2000s. The iPod video was 2000s, but early because the first iPod was like 2001. I want to say 2002, something like that. The first time somebody Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first iPod was like 2002.
That sounds right because I know MP3 players were like 2000, 2001.
Yeah, MP3 players, early 2000, and then iPod kind of refined it, or Apple kind of refined it in 2000. I want to say 2,
Okay.
maybe 3 even.
Because, let's see here. 2000 and...
You know what? My brother had one when I got home from my mission for the church, and it was an off-brand one. It was a Zen.
A Zune?
No, not a Zune even. Microsoft made the Zune, I think. Wasn't it Microsoft?
I think so.
It was a Zen.
Ooh.
And it was one non-video. So I don't know when the video came in. I think it was after that. So the video came in, I want to say like 05 probably. I want to say 04, 05.
Okay.
Was when video came in. And that's when podcasts started, was like that era. And I think it went to audio pretty quickly, but I think the very first podcasts were video. Then they realized they could do long form and have it and be easier to stream and download and everything if it was only audio. So they started doing, they had Mark Maron and Never Not Funny were like some of the early podcasts. Jimmy Pardo's Never Not Funny. Shout out to Jimmy Pardo.
Tom Green.
Tom Green had a podcast.
He was super influential.
His was video. Yeah. He actually, we could probably credit him to a lot of that because he was doing like a streaming talk show, an internet-only talk show. In fact, when he did it, everybody was like, what? Like, you're doing an internet-only talk show? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, nobody had like a web series back then.
Right.
Now, obviously, tons of things are streaming only.
Right.
But it didn't exist yet.
Like, people cut the cord. Like, that's...
Yeah, exactly. Now, where I was going with this is saying that none of that existed yet, and it was just starting. It was budding when I was in film school.
Right.
So we had a focus. Is that what it's called? When you major in something and then you have a...
Right, yeah, it's a focus.
It's called a focus, right? Yeah. So we had a focus. So there's several tracks you could go. You could do video editing.
Right.
You could do directing. You could do critical. You could become a film critic.
Okay.
That was part of the film school. You could be... there was other things. Oh, like a cinematographer. There was like a cinematography
nice. Okay.
emphasis. Emphasis, that's the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
I did something called new media.
New media.
Which was learning how to upload to YouTube. I did the thing that now every teenager knows how to do out of the womb.
You can just click a button. Just one click on the screen. We're doing the
thing like I spent classes, hours and grades and classes on how to upload stuff to YouTube, how to condense it, how to compress it to make it small enough to upload. QuickTime. We had a QuickTime class.
QuickTime.
Yeah. We had to learn how to edit digitally, which most people, like, I took the same editing classes that the editors did too. A lot of the same classes because everybody was already digitally editing by then.
Right.
Even if you were doing it on film, you were using an Avid machine to do the film editing, so which basically like a digital editor. So this was like this brand new thing. So I majored in something that every kindergartner knows how to do now. Like that's how that went. And so that was my emphasis, was new media.
So I'm going to make you feel better. My major is business communications, which basically means if I stand on a street corner and ask people for money, I am fulfilling my degree because I am just asking people for that. I've communicated business.
Yeah.
That's it. It is sad.
What's funny about that, nobody's like, hey, we need to hire a new business communicator.
Right.
That's not like a job title.
Basically, I became a business communications major because I had no idea what I wanted to do, and it was the fastest way to graduate. I loved school, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, so I had no real focus. It was just I just needed to get out.
Yeah.
That was it.
I should have done that.
Yeah.
Well, my film. Well, here the reason why I say that is because I spent a lot of time on doing film, because I kept like learning new things and then going different tracks and stuff like that, and it just took a long time. And it's like, so part of me is like, maybe I should have just tried to get a quick degree or something like that, or quicker degree, like hit the history department.
Right.
Oh man, those degrees.
Oh.
They're like handing those out.
Yeah.
I remember it being like, I don't know how your credit system worked, but I remember it being like 80 credits or something to get a history degree, and it was like 120 credits to get a film degree, or like stuff like that. Like all the other stuff was way higher.
I know that they were fairly close, and I went with, hey, this is the easiest, because it was also public speaking and things like that. I'm like, I can hit those classes real well.
Yeah, and and it was just funny because I didn't like, now having the new media emphasis got me talked my way. Having that, I talked my way into a position with a company as their media specialist.
See, that's awesome.
So they had me make commercials for them that were in-house commercials.
Right.
So like I would make these commercials, and then they'd use them as to send to clients and prospective clients about their products. So it was a promotional products company. So they made like bobbleheads and stuff basically for sports teams.
Okay.
Also, companies like corporations and stuff could use them for stuff like that. But it was mainly their biggest clients were minor league sports teams, like arena football, minor league baseball, minor league hockey, that kind of stuff.
I like it.
Like you go to a Jumbo Shrimp game and it's bobblehead day, that company probably provided those bobbleheads. So it was all stuff like that, or like drawstring backpacks with logos on them, that kind of stuff. And the guy who owned the company, he had connections to a factory in China, and just like would develop the stuff wholesale basically with this factory in China,
right?
And make all this custom stuff, and they wanted some like media to set like some commercials that would catch the attention of the clients and prospective clients. It was basically to send to prospective clients to get their business,
right,
or to send to current clients to get more business. And we had this one, and I don't know where the footage is. I've got to find it, because we made this one commercial that was called Destroyers All, which the name of the company was Destroyer Promotional Products, and I don't know if they exist anymore. Shout out to Jeff Bushy, who is the owner and CEO of that company, who also was the managing owner of the Sharks for a while.
Oh, okay.
But he had Destroyer Promotional Products, and we filmed this segment like Destroyer was like a medication for a condition, and the condition was nobody's coming to your games. Like basically, you're a minor league baseball team owner, and you need promotional products because nobody's coming to your games. And so the doctor prescribed Destroyers All. Now we filmed it in an actual dentist's office.
Okay, that's cool.
And used like dentist equipment to pretend like we were diagnosing this team owner with what did we call it? It was something dumb like lack of fansitis or something like that, or no fansitis or something like that. And then Destroyers All was the cure. And then we would show the promotional products in the commercial, like, oh, here's some of the promotion,
right.
That was the medicine or whatever. It was really dumb, but I had fun doing it. And I did 1.5 commercials basically. And then the economy tanked in Florida. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
In the early 2000s. The economy tanked, I mean, pretty much in the whole country, but especially in Florida. Florida was really bad for that housing market crash and everything. Yes. Just the bubble crash and everything. And companies like that were firing luxury positions. And at that time, media specialist was a luxury position, so they didn't ask me to do any more for them. Nowadays, everyone has a media specialist, by the way.
Yes.
That's an essential.
You are cutting edge.
I know.
That's what I'm learning.
That's an essential position now. It's a different thing. Like nobody's making production commercials anymore. Now they're making TikToks and YouTube shorts and social media. It's all social media based now.
Right. Yep.
Which I'm sure that major, like that emphasis in film is no longer that. I'm sure it's social media or something like that. I'm sure it's a social media emphasis in film. But yeah, that's what I went to school for, and I did not move to a town with a film industry, so this is why I tell jokes.
So I actually have a fun college story that actually plays into something we've already talked about.
You know what time it is?
Yeah, it is 5:40.
5:40?
Yep.
Okay, we're doing good.
Yep.
All right.
So I played college football. So it was Division III. So not like big, like awesome like scholarship stuff. We paid to play football. So but we were there. It was fun, and it was a blast. Loved it. And going into my last year playing. It was the best team that we've had in a long time. We actually ended up winning a championship. We played in a small bowl game, but the president of the school bought us pizza for the end of training camp. Awesome, great. Love it. Had like all these pizzas delivered. Half of them were everything, and the place. Everything had included anchovies. And I was like one of the 2 people on the team who would eat them.
Yeah.
So I took like 15 full pizzas back to my dorm.
Because nobody wanted anchovies.
Because nobody wanted them. So I'm like it was great. Like I took them back. Like my friends who weren't on the team, I'm like, hey guys, you can pull the anchovies off. I'm like, I would strongly suggest you eat them because they taste good, but
nobody else wanted them.
It's free pizza, man. You got to go for it.
That's funny. Yeah, and that was the most you ever got paid to play football. Was
yeah, absolutely.
15 free pizzas.
15 free pizzas. Yeah. So
did you ever play? What's the name of that school? Mount
Union.
Mount Union. Yeah.
No, I did not. That was
they're the famous one.
They are the famous.
Yeah.
They were like 15 miles away from where I grew up, and like I played
That's
the
the
high
one
school.
all the Ohio people know.
Yep.
The Division III school. They have like a bunch of championships.
Yes,
Championships.
they have a bunch. I have some buddies that I know that have national championship rings from playing there.
Yeah, and they have some NFL players went
Yes.
to Mountain Union.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yes, a guy I played college football with played in the NFL.
Really?
Yes, he. It was like right in the wave of like right when guys who were baseball players were coming back to college. So
okay.
like right when that was starting, this guy that played, he was drafted, made it up I think to like AAA.
Okay.
And broke his wrist. Kind of lost his power swing. Just didn't really get it. But super athletic. Had money. He and it's like, hey, I'm gonna come back. And one of his high school coaches was coaching at Grove City at the time. It's like, hey, I've got school paid for from this. I'd like to play football. He came back and he was a man among boys.
Really?
He was he had a couple Division I college football offers coming out of high school. Just spent 6 years playing professional baseball, and
after 6 years, none of the Division I teams will touch him.
Right. And he came back as a running back, and he ended up as the NCAA all-time leading rusher.
Oh, really?
Really, he broke Barry Sanders' record for yards in a season, but it was Division III instead of Division I, so it doesn't really count. But he was the first running back to have 7,000 yards rushing. He was a man. And
nice.
What was cool is that was my last year playing. It was his first year. He was older than me, but oh, cool. Yeah. So then after I moved to Jacksonville, he was on the Browns.
Really?
He played for the Browns and the Steelers across 3 years. I got to come to a game here in Jacksonville where he was on the Browns. He didn't dress for him, but he was on the sideline. So I was like, yay, I know that guy. I yelled at him from the stands, and he did not recognize me at all.
Oh, okay.
But, it was cool. It was fun. I got to play with a guy who was in the NFL.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool that he got to be in the NFL for a few years.
Yeah. So.
That That's funny because so he played two professional sports.
Two professional sports. His name is R.J. Bowers.
He's probably dead or in prison.
Dead or in prison. He's older than me, so he's definitely dead or in prison.
Yeah. I played football with somebody who went to the NFL.
Cool.
Kind of.
Okay.
So we weren't on the same. We didn't play on the same team really because he was a freshman.
Okay.
So he wasn't on the varsity team. But when I was a senior, he was a freshman, Darren McFadden.
Oh yeah.
He won 2-time Doak Walker Award winner.
I'm well aware of Darren McFadden.
Darren McFadden went to Oak Grove High School.
Okay.
In Arkansas, in North Little Rock, Arkansas, where I went to school. He was a freshman, so we did play a little bit together. Like our spring training was always together, and we did a scrimmage game for spring training where they mixed everybody up, and I got to defend him a little bit. I played defensive line against him a little bit, so I tackled him a couple times. So I've tackled a guy who ended up in the NFL. Now he was like 14 at the time.
He was still good.
He was good, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he was on this like. So I think that was the year that maybe they went undefeated or something, like that freshman team went undefeated, I want to say, or something, and everybody's like, well, that team's going to be awesome in a couple of years when they end up in varsity. And I think he was on that team, and he was, even back then, people knew he was going to be something.
Yeah.
And then he ended up playing for the Razorbacks, won 2 Doak Walker Awards, was runner-up pretty much twice for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
Was very close one year to winning the Heisman Trophy. He was only a few votes away.
And I think he's a first-round draft pick for the Raiders.
He went to the Raiders. He didn't end up having a huge career with the Raiders. I don't know if he's. I doubt he's still in the NFL.
No, he's not now.
30 something.
Yeah,
by
but
now.
I think his best years were with the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot he played for the Cowboys for a while. I forgot about that. He did have some good years with the Cowboys. But yeah, that was I always thought that was cool to have a guy.
Yeah, I know specifically because he was on my fantasy football league.
Oh, okay.
He was on my team. So thank you.
So you know Darren McFadden.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But that Arkansas team he was a part of, they made a good run. They almost made it to the national championship that year. Like they had been undefeated, they were undefeated for a huge chunk of the season.
Yes,
in the SEC, which is huge.
They
at
had
the time it was huge.
Like 3 or 4.
The SEC's terrible.
NFL quality running backs.
Yes, they did on that team,
and he was the best.
He was the best one. And they had honestly 4 giant, like just massively talented running backs on that team, and really no quarterback.
Yeah,
they honestly ran without a quarterback. They ran the Wildcat formation, which was basically without a quarterback. So they had who was the other guy? Now there was
Peyton Hillis was one.
Peyton Hillis was one of them,
and there was another.
There was another dude that was I think he was technically the quarterback. They kept trying to determine what position to label each of them because they really didn't run a traditional offense. Right. They would run the Wildcat formation. They'd snap it directly to Darren McFadden, or they'd snap it to the other guy that was next to him, or Peyton Hill, whoever was on the field.
Right.
Like they wouldn't really have a quarterback. Sometimes they would. Sometimes they throw a quarterback up there if they really needed to bluff on a pass or something like that. But they honestly played without a quarterback for like a whole year, and it went great. Like they had a great team.
Yeah, it was actually very much like Division III ball.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because it was like, hey, we're just gonna put these boys up front and try to run you over.
Which is crazy because that's kind of how our high school was.
Right.
So my senior year, which I think they carried that tradition on. My senior year, they completely changed the playbook, and we went wishbone formation.
Okay.
Which is 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, a tight end, and a wide receiver. That's the formation.
Yep.
So you've got your quarterback, and then a running back behind him, and then 2 running backs. That's why it's a wishbone because
Yes.
That's crazy. So you have a fullback and a running back next to each other, and a a fullback and a halfback, or I guess you could call it a fullback and a tailback, and then a halfback behind the quarterback. So then, or is that what you? I don't know. I don't know. I always forget. It's been so long since I played football.
I would know it if I.
We're
saw
saying
it on
no. The fullback goes behind the quarterback.
Yes.
And then the halfback is offset from the quarterback. Right? Is that how that works?
For the wishbone, yes.
Yeah.
'Cause
So you've got a fullback
have
right
the
behind the
three.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Then you have two halfbacks,
One on each side.
one on each side behind the fullback.
Yep.
And by the way, when we played, our fullback and halfback, one of our fullbacks and one of our halfbacks were all state running backs. Great guys,
Right.
like amazingly talented football players, and we would just run over everybody. And I was tight end, and I was just basically blocking on the outside for these guys.
Right.
So like they'd run the option, so our quarterback would either keep it or toss it. Almost every play, that was all we did. We just did the option, and he'd keep it or toss it, or we'd do the option, or we'd run it up the middle. So it was like one of those two. So if we did the option, Lance would get it and run on the outside. I'd block for him on the outside, and he'd make touchdowns off my right hip or my left hip, depending on what we were doing.
Okay, I've got to ask this very important question. What football jersey number were you?
I was number 42.
Number 42. Gotcha.
Life, the universe, and everything.
Okay. I mean, it is the answer.
Yeah, it is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. That is why I picked 42.
Awesome.
It was also my number in basketball when I was in 8th grade.
Very nice.
And I carried that on to football to be number 42. I couldn't get into baseball. We didn't have a 42 jersey for some reason.
Yeah. There's weird number rules at
I don't know.
schools.
We didn't have a 42 for some. I don't know. I don't know why we didn't. Maybe because there's just less players on a baseball team, so they just didn't have all the numbers.
It could be like what's weird. My high school, the basketball team, and I'm a number guy. Like I like jersey numbers, so I noticed this, and it always confused me. Our high school basketball team did not have odd numbers. You could not have an odd.
Really?
Like so, it
Couldn't be number 5.
could not be number 5.
That's
it was
funny.
only even numbers until I think just recently, and I don't know if it was a coach decision
That's
or they
weird.
just didn't order the jerseys.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was just weird. Like 33 is a cool number. No one wore it.
Now 42. A lot of teams don't have a number 42 on baseball because of Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson. Yeah.
The whole major league has retired it. And there was the last holdout. What was his name? There was one guy in the Yankees that had number 42 because he was grandfathered in.
Right.
But he retired a few years ago. But yeah, nobody in the Major League Baseball has number 42 or minor league. I don't think there's.
I don't know.
I want to say 42 is across the
that's
board,
carried over.
and a lot of other organizations also have 42 retired because of Jackie Robinson.
Right.
So I guess 42 is probably not a good one to have for baseball, just because you're not going to be able to get it a lot. But I had it in football, and senior year that was our year. We had that wishbone, and I believe they carried on that running game with Darren McFadden. Well, I mean, I know they did. Because,
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah, he was a monster, so I know they did. But yeah, that's our only guy, I'm pretty sure, to play in the NFL. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't think we had anybody else. The school doesn't exist anymore, so they're not producing any more NFL players.
Okay, yeah. That, like my high school, like I know that I played against some kids from other schools.
Yeah, I'm trying to
that
think
went
if
to the NFL,
if I
but-
played against anybody who ended up in the NFL. It's possible, but I don't remember. Yeah, it's possible, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know I did, but they had like a cup of coffee. Like they weren't stars. That's
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think we can wrap it up. Well, that's National Higher Education Day. We talked about our schools, Brigham Young University and Grove City College.
Grove City, and how we have disappointing degrees.
Yeah, how we have we did not get marketable skills while we were there. And it was a lot of fun. I loved going to college, but it was a lot of fun. And sold out show coming up tonight.
Sold out show.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get there.
Super
real fast.
excited. And 19th, July 19th, we've got a show coming up. I forget where it is.
There's going to be more information.
We'll give you more information
I honestly
pretty
have
soon.
no idea where it's at. So,
But go to comedysuperfriends.com. I've got all of those shows listed there. And go to joeynickel.com. Go to
BobbyParkerComedy.com.
BobbyParkerComedy.com. Check them out. Thank you for listening to Today Is. See you tomorrow.
Have a good one.